Hey guys, and welcome to the Alternative Movement Podcast. My name is Craig, your host, and today we are joined by Leanne Stephen. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Fantastic. I'm great. Thank you so much for joining me, especially on today, International Women's Day. So this is a perfect opportunity to have you on the podcast, being a woman and all.
Perfect day.
How you been? You okay?
Yeah, all good, thank you.
Awesome. So a little bit of background. Leanne, you got in contact with me just after I had a podcast with Nick Hewitt. So you know Nick himself. Have you spoken to Nick? I'm assuming you have, or been in contact with Nick?
Yeah, I haven't obviously met him in person because we're quite a distance away. But yeah, we have spoke.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, Nick's is a bit closer to me. I think he's only about 30 minutes drive from me. I'm trying to work out where you're from. Where's the accent?
I don't honestly think I have an accent.
To me, you have an accent.
Okay. So I live in Lincolnshire, Grimsby.
Okay.
Which people have either never heard of, and it's just miles away from everywhere.
I've heard of Grimsby and I've heard of Lincolnshire. Mainly Grimsby because I live near Tilbury, and what's that film with Sacha Baron Cohen in?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So that was filmed in Tilbury, where I'm from, actually, because they was trying to find a really derelict area to film the show, and they used my local town. So I was like, oh, I'm so privileged.
There's really not a lot in Grimsby. Either people have just never heard of it, but it is just miles away from anywhere. So have you heard of Hull?
I've heard of Hull, yes.
So it's about 40 minutes from Hull.
Okay.
Do you know where Hull is? I'm literally miles away.
That way somewhere, innit?
Yeah, I'm literally miles away. Cleethorpes?
Never heard of Cleethorpes.
No, I knew you was going to say that. You must have heard Grimsby with fish and chips, because literally Grimsby and fish and chips go.
Oh no, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So the only reason I've heard of Grimsby is because of the film that was recorded. But I say, do know Lincolnshire. Cool. So Leanne, tell me a little bit about yourself. So I always like to get the guests on this podcast to give me a little bit of background information about themselves and what they do.
So I was born with a disability called cerebral palsy. You've probably heard of it.
Our work, that is
a lot of guys that have CP. Yeah. So it's the one disability that has the biggest variation. So on one end of the scale, you might have someone who doesn't even look like they have a disability, someone who can't talk, feed themselves, do pretty much anything for themselves, and I'm pretty much somewhere in the middle. So it just affects my legs, but it means that I need to use a wheelchair. I have no standing balance at all. So basically, if you stand me in the middle of a room, let go of me, I'd just fall over. But I can walk with crutches a little bit, but not a great distance. But yeah, for me, it just mostly affects my legs.
Okay.
But like I said, you're probably more aware of, if you work with a lot of guys with CP, there's quite a big variation.
Absolutely. It's a real big sort of umbrella disability. It's got I work with multiple guys. I've got two guys that affects their lower half. I've got one guy that affects all four limbs. I've got another guy that affects literally one half of the body. So yeah, as you say, it can sort of affect different people. And then with that as well can come sort of other aspects of the disability.
Yeah, I always explain it like somebody's fingerprint. Like, you'd never get the same fingerprint, you'd never get the same person with CP. So what one person might find difficult, another person might find easier, and it's never the same with anybody.
Mm-hmm. So have you had to go through any operations with your variation CP? I'd imagine a few. Yeah,
literally, I couldn't even tell you how many. I think my biggest one was an 11-hour operation when I was around about 10. That was to sort of change. Well, I don't really know all the ins and outs of it, because when you're 10, you don't understand what's going on, really, do you? You just get on with it, or try.
You just agree with whatever the doctor says or the parents say.
Yeah, exactly. All I know is that one of them was like to sort of move my muscles all around, and then the other one was to move my bones all around. I had two back to back. Like I said, it was 11 hours. So it was like I went down one day and I came back, and it was a completely different day. It was so weird. And that was probably the worst time of my life, going through that operation. But now, looking back, it did benefit me. But at the time, you just think, why am I doing this? Why is my mum and dad putting me through this?
Why am I getting pulled about? So what was that SDR, the operation?
I don't even know what it's called. You know, where I'm really rubbish for stuff like this. I ended up, have you heard of broomstick plasters?
Yes.
So that's what I was in for 6 weeks. So basically from the top of my hip to just my toes sticking out, pops on both legs with a bar across the middle, which was horrendous. Literally awful.
Not a great look. So how did you find that recovery after that operation? Was that quite a long recovery? Was it?
Yeah, it was really long. So like I said, it was probably the worst time of my life. All I can remember, obviously it was quite a long time ago now, but all I can remember is just pain and having to go through a lot of physio, which I absolutely hated them. Again, I kept thinking, like, why are you doing this to me? But looking back, obviously now I can look back and think this happened for a reason. Like, I'm definitely a lot better now than I was back then, but you can never see the reason why you're going through these things at the time. You just think this is torture. Why am I going through this? And especially being 10 as well, like you don't really know why you're doing it or what the benefits are going to be. You just get sort of plonked in the hospital and have to deal with it.
Yeah. You're not seeing any immediate results, are you? You're literally just going in there, getting in pain, more pain. But obviously now looking back, you're sort of like, yeah, that did make sense why I did that. Oh
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would never want to go through that time again. That I can't remember, like I said, a lot of it. The only thing I can remember is absolute pain. But I'd never want to go through that again. But I'm glad I did at that time, if that makes sense.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I've seen like with like some of the guys I work with that's had operations throughout their life, and one of them was the SDR treatment, the operation, and then I've seen a comparison of people that haven't had it as well, and you can see a big difference in sort of like muscle cramps and involuntary movements and stuff like that. So
because before I used to just have like Botox injections, you know, as like a way to, back then it was like a way to loosen things, you know, things that were tight in my legs, it was to loosen things. And I had them, and that was just like a short-term thing. So then we had to obviously move on and see what else we could do, because I used to walk on my tiptoes. I couldn't flatten my feet at all. So now that's a lot better. My feet are definitely better.
So you said you use crutches. Do you predominantly use a wheelchair most of the time? Do you have a frame?
Yeah, no, I have to use a wheelchair pretty much all of the time. I have no standing mounts whatsoever, and I do have crutches, like I said, but it's really short distances. So I try and do a little bit of walking in the house every day, but it is literally just really short distances. Like I could maybe go from like the house to the car, and that is it. So pretty much wheelchair all the time.
I think that's the key thing as well, isn't it? Keeping up that because you can use your leg to a certain extent, and you want to continue using them because obviously that's going to help you with like stuff like transfers and moving from thing to thing, rather than having to just solely use your upper body. I mean, you'll have some massive arms, obviously, if you're pulling yourself about all the time.
Massive arms and little legs. I think that's the thing as well. Like when I go in the gym, I do also try and do the few leg exercises that I can do, and people sort of look at me, I think, as if to say like, why are you doing them? But them are the exercises that benefit me the most, probably, because that's what keep my legs going.
Yeah, otherwise they literally would just like eventually lose muscle and lose strength. And
I mean, it's so hard for me to build muscle. Obviously it would take a long time, and I don't think sort of the lower half of my legs, I don't think I ever would be able to build muscle there, just because of the operations that I've had and the things that have been cut and moved around. But I still like to keep, like I said, going with my legs, because it does help in everyday life, especially transferring. That's a big thing.
Oh, big time. So from that point, so you obviously had your operations and stuff. When did you get into, because we had a little conversation just before we started about the sort of sports you do. When did you start getting into sports?
Yeah, so it was after that operation, and I actually met somebody randomly who had also had that operation, and they told me about a local sports centre that was it was basically lots of different sports. I went down just on like the off chance. And one of the things that I tried there was table tennis. I was absolutely rubbish. Literally, I don't think I could even hit the ball at all. But for some reason, something clicked in me that I thought, you know what, like this is something that I can do by myself with no one else's help. Like it's just me that can do it for me. And I really ended up liking it. And I carried it on. And I think it was 3 years after I'd joined that club, there was a world championships for people with my disability. So I was like, let's just do it. So I did. I ended up coming back with 3rd place from there. And then it sort of progressed from there, where the Great Britain team spotted me at another competition I was at. And yeah, it went from there. So I ended up playing table tennis for Great Britain for 10 years.
Wow, that's amazing.
A bit random, but sometimes these random things just happen.
Yeah. How was that experience doing that? Because obviously going from being someone of that age, having all these operations and maybe thinking you are limited to what you can do in life, and then all of a sudden getting this opportunity to play for Great Britain.
Yeah, literally incredible. Like the best time of my life. So I'd gone from the worst time with the operation that I spoke about to literally all these experiences happening, and me thinking to myself, without having this disability, there's no way I would do any of this. So cutting the long story short, obviously I've ended up going to 2 European Championships, World Championships, and I competed in the Commonwealth Games in 2010. Amazing. And that was like the most amazing experience. So things like that definitely wouldn't have happened without my disability. So I have a lot to be thankful for it, even though back then I was like, why is this happening to me? But it just shows that random things do happen, and things that you think are awful and horrible, actually there's a positive thing that comes out of it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people get caught up in the sort of like negative sides of having a disability, when sometimes it is like, as you just said there, you never would have been exposed to that opportunity not having had that disability.
Yeah, I think, and I was definitely like that when I was younger. I used to say to my parents all the time, like, why has this happened to me? What have I done that's so bad that I have to deal with this? Like, I never understood. I thought I was a bad person, that this had happened to me and I had to deal with it. And now I'm so thankful for it. Like, it's made me such a better person. I've got so much more willpower, determination. I love challenging myself. And like I said, all these experiences would never have happened.
And do you think that's solely through sport, the reason you've developed such a good mindset and a good and this motivation, determination?
Yeah, definitely. Like literally, sport changed my whole mindset. Like it was something. If I'd won a competition or if I'd won a match or whatever, I had won that match myself with nobody else's help. Because obviously, having a disability, you do need people's help at times. You can't get away from that. There are things where you will need help. You don't necessarily want that help, but there's nothing you can do about it. Whereas if I'd won that game, that match, competition, whatever, then I'd won it, and only me. And it was like that feeling of, you know, like, I don't know, it was just a nice feeling that it was just solely me that had done something for myself.
Yeah, like you could, I suppose, yeah, as I said, like you almost have that perceived limitation within your life, and then to be able to do that, and it's like, it's a proper category, it's a proper sport. It's like they're not just sort of palming you off doing sort of like activities to keep you busy sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like a proper career progression as well, potentially.
Yeah,
for some people.
I think from then I definitely started to change my mindset and think like I can actually be whatever I want to be or do whatever I want to do. There's only me that's stopping me, or my mindset that's stopping me from doing that. It's not actually my disability that's stopping me. It definitely did change a course. Well, I think it did. Other people might say not, but because people used to say, "Oh, well, it's only a sport. What can that do for you?" But when you play for your country and literally your whole life is revolved around it. I mean, there were things that I didn't do. Like, for example, I didn't go to university because I decided that I wanted to go to the Paralympics. Unfortunately, I never got there, but obviously the Commonwealth Games was the next best thing. But yeah, there were things I didn't do because it was my life. I trained 7 days a week. I travelled all over. My parents obviously sacrificed a lot of things. It was a lot of money. So for when people used to say, oh, it's just a sport. Well, no, it wasn't just a sport.
And that seems to be a common reoccurrence, to be fair with you. And that's why I'm so passionate about what I do and the guys I work with, because on surface level, like, people just watch my stuff and say, oh yeah, as you say, it's just a sport, they're just doing like a bit of exercise or whatever. But it's not just what comes along with that, it's the community aspect, it's that self-empowerment that you're giving these individuals. And like, for anyone that's been following me on social media for the past few weeks, it's been the CrossFit Open. So I don't know how much you know about the CrossFit Open and what's going on.
Yeah.
So yeah, I obviously alt movement. I work with a lot of adaptive athletes, and this is the first year I've been able to have some of my adaptive athletes compete alongside able-bodied people as well. So that was super awesome to watch, and just to have everyone watch these guys performing, just massive mindset shift. Yeah. You just saw people's eyes just light up and go, wow, like, okay, I need to stuff my excuses in a bag and stop whining about stuff.
Like, people say this to me a lot and they're like, oh, how do you do this? How do you do that? I can't do this. And I'm like, or they'll say like, oh, this must be really hard. And I just turn around and say to them, yeah, it is hard, but what's your excuse? Because it's literally just excuses all the time. And I hate it. I'm like so passionate about, trying to inspire other people and giving them the feeling that I have just through fitness. That I'm literally, when people give me excuses, I can't deal with them.
And they are excuses. So coming away from that, so obviously you played table tennis for 10 years. Coming away from this, where are you at now with your sport? So where was that turning point?
Okay, so after the Commonwealth Games, unfortunately I lost my funding due to table tennis sort of not being a professional sport, don't get a lot of funding. I was one of the last people to go in the squad, so unfortunately one of the first people that had to come out. Mm-hmm. So I came out of there, and if I'm honest with you, it absolutely ruined me. Like, I didn't know what I was going to do. Like, that was my whole life. I had it all mapped out what I wanted to do, and I actually became quite ill because I didn't know who I was anymore. It was like somebody had taken.
You'd lost your identity.
Exactly. Like, even locally around town, I was the table tennis girl. That was my name, and people would follow me and be like, oh, I'm going to see you at the Paralympics. And I felt like I wasn't that person. And in a weird way, I felt like I'd let everyone down. Like, they wanted me to be this person and I wanted to be that person, and it was taken away from me. And I always say that if I'd chosen to retire from the sport, I think I would have found it easier. But because somebody had taken that away from me, I literally didn't know what to do. And I just remember phoning my parents, because I wasn't even with them when they told me about it. And I just cried because I honestly didn't know what to do with my life. And I was really ill. I just became so poorly. I didn't speak to anyone. I didn't do anything. I just wanted to lock myself away and not talk to anybody because this big thing had been taken away. But then there's kind of a gap where from then to getting better, so to speak, I don't really remember a lot of what happened. I just remember I kind of pushed myself out of this rut because I thought the more I let myself get down and down, it's gonna get worse and I'm not gonna be able to get out of it. So I don't really remember that middle part. I just remember sort of one day thinking, right, pull yourself together.
It's almost like a black hole within your life. That
I mean, I don't know whether I've chosen to forget that part or whether I genuinely don't remember, but in that middle part of sort of being at my lowest point to getting out of it, I don't really remember how I got out of it. I mean, I'm guessing it was a lot of help from my parents. But yeah, somehow I dragged myself out of that hole and thought, right, let's do something. So yeah, I've always been into fitness, always been into the gym. So that was just something I pushed myself back into. So just went back into the gym as sort of a familiar, headspace, so to speak. I could just go in there, I knew what I was doing, forget about everything that was going on, and just have a workout, basically.
So did you stop training for that period of time? Like you literally just went, nope, done. No, if I'm not doing this.
Completely. I didn't want to know. I didn't want to know about it. It had gone from the absolute love to my worst enemy. Like I didn't train, I didn't even touch a bat anymore. My bats went away, got rid of them, didn't even know where they were.
It's almost like because you've lost that little bit now, like I just want to get this out of my life completely. I don't even want to think about it. I don't even want to look at it.
No, I mean, everybody kept saying to me, oh, still train, still play just for fun, but it wasn't fun for me.
No, it's a reminder of what could have been, almost, I guess.
Exactly, yeah. There was no fun in it for me, so I had to just get rid, basically. So yeah, that completely went, and I just started going into the gym just with my dad, just as like to get into a different headspace, but a familiar place that I knew I liked, but somewhere to just forget about everything that I didn't have or used to have, basically.
So you trained in the gym prior to this, other than your other training. So it was just sort of like you had a good idea, you had a good baseline of where to start from again back in the gym.
Yeah. The gym sort of, we did the gym and we did the training and table tennis sort of hand in hand together. So I've always been into the gym, but never really, it's just like any normal Joe Blogs would go to the gym, not in any sort of big way.
So is that how you felt when you was going back in there, or did you feel almost like you was just a normal person again from this like athlete that had like a career sort of progression back into the gym, and it's sort of like
just kind of went from, like you said, like this athlete that everybody knew who I was locally, to just a bog standard person again. And I was like, what am I going to do? And I literally didn't know. I had no clue. It was just me taking every day by day and just trying to see what happened and what I wanted to do, hoping that something was just going to pop up, I think.
Yeah. So from that point, obviously you've been training for a while now. Where did the bodybuilding come in? Because that's one of the reasons we started talking, because obviously there's something, I don't know how much we can say about this, by the way. Nick's not giving me any information. Yeah. So I'll try and be careful
what I say and what I don't say.
Yeah.
So it's funny that you say bodybuilding, because I never ever call myself a bodybuilder. Like my coach also says this. She says to me, like, you need to start saying that you're a bodybuilder. But to me, I'm not. I just like fitness that little bit more. But people say to me, yeah, you are a bodybuilder, but I don't. It makes me laugh when people put my name and bodybuilder in the same sentence.
Do you not like that title?
Oh, no, yeah. I just don't think I'm at that place yet. Like, I don't know. I have, how everybody has that like vision of how somebody would be. Like if you was to say, oh, how do you think a person in a wheelchair would look? Unfortunately, everybody has that initial image that they think people will look like. I do that with bodybuilders. Like if you said to me, oh, how do you think a bodybuilder should look like? It wouldn't be me. So me and bodybuilder in the same sentence just sounds funny to me. But I know what you mean.
Yeah. So so how long have you been going and training bodybuilding? I'm trying to think of how to term it then, so you don't throw you off.
So what happened was, basically I put on a lot of weight, or I say a lot of weight, because I'm quite small. Weight on me to weight on somebody that would be taller obviously looks different. So when you get into your comfort zone in your life, I'd basically got my own house, got into a little comfort zone and just ate. And it got to the point where I was thinking, like, I'm putting weight on now and I need to do something about it. So first of all, I just decided that I got like a food app and just decided to track my calories myself and lose a bit of weight. I then decided to go, online, on Instagram. As you do, you get sucked into Instagram and start looking at everybody else. And I thought, like, I really want to work hard at changing my body shape, and surely there must be other people in wheelchairs that do this. But I couldn't really find any women in wheelchairs that had kind of gone from a bigger person, so to speak, and lost weight. So I was like, right, I'm determined to do this. So I decided to document my journey on Instagram. And I ended up getting a coach who I've been with for 2 years now, and honestly, she has changed my life. We've gone from sort of, as you would call it, a lifestyle client, to now I'm probably a little bit more than that, but I still wouldn't say I'm a bodybuilder. Would you say that?
Are you competing in bodybuilding? Maybe, then I would say that, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Like, if you're taking that step towards that progression in your career, then 100% call yourself a bodybuilder. Be proud of it.
Yeah. So I'm hoping to compete.
Yeah.
That is the next step. So I want to show, obviously, as well, women in fitness is obviously less than men, and then you put the disability aspect into that as well, and it's even less. So yeah,
you're like a unicorn. You're very rare.
Well, thanks. Yeah, for me, my big passion is to just inspire other people to realise that whether you've got a disability or not, you might just have a health condition, or you might have a busy lifestyle, whatever, that if you want to change your body shape, it is possible. And I think it's nice to have that person to look at and realise that they've done it. So, like when you can see something actually happen, it seems more possible that it could happen for you. So I just decided to document my journey on Instagram. And yeah, it just went from there, really. So I lost 4 stone. And then I was like, I quite like this. It's quite addictive. Let's take it up another level. And that's when obviously I got my coach, who I've been with for 2 years now. And I'm literally eat, sleep, breathe, everything fitness now. Like, my food is all prepped, planned out, weighed out. I eat the same thing every day. The bodybuilder lifestyle.
Yeah, so yeah, call yourself a bodybuilder. You're doing it. You're more disciplined than me. I think when most people get, especially guys, we get into fitness, it's straight away it's bodybuilding. It's like, right, okay, I've watched Pumping Iron, now I'm a bodybuilder. Let's go and go and prep all my meals. I'm gonna go in the gym, back of biceps, chest and tries, all that sort of stuff, split body parts, and that's definitely where I started. Although I would never have called myself a bodybuilder by any means necessary. That was just like my intermittent stage at the beginning. Personally, I've turned away a lot from that now because I'm a CrossFit coach, obviously adaptive coach as well, and a lot of my training revolves around functional fitness. Now, don't get me wrong, every single Sunday I go into the gym at 6 a.m. and I'll do like a functional bodybuilding session, so probably a little bit more of a high intense bodybuilding style session. So I do revisit that style of training, and personally, I couldn't do it because I don't think I have the discipline to be as strict as that with food.
But I was exactly the same. Like, I never realised that I could be this disciplined and dedicated to something as I am now. So for 2 years, as I said, I've been with my coach now, and honestly, I have been on plan, the same food, six meals a day, and I do it. And that's because I know that I want to achieve this goal of, 1, of competing, and 2, to inspire other people. And I'm the only person that can do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think very much from what I've seen as well, there's not many women advocates for disability, and even for disability bodybuilding or anything like this. It's a lot of men, and even my clients, predominantly men. Do you personally think there's any reason why that is? Do maybe women living with a disability are less likely to be more outgoing or put themselves in vulnerable situations?
Personally, for me, because I was the same when I started out, I think women, even disability or no disability, I think women think that lifting heavy weights is for men. and that lifting heavy is going to make you look like a man, and you're going to get these huge muscles. But I wish you could get huge muscles that quick, because it takes
I do love that conversation we have in the gym generally. If I get a client come in or someone new, they're like, oh, I don't really want to lift too many heavy weights because I don't want to get too bulky and look manly. I'm like, right, if you can do that, I want to know what you're doing.
Exactly.
because I've been training for years.
If you could get them that quick, I would be very happy. Literally, it's just consistency and a long, long time, which people don't realize. And I think as well, women, we are really conscious about what we look like. And that's just a woman thing. And I think as well, we're a little bit impatient. Like, if you're working hard, you want it to happen now or yesterday. And because it doesn't, I think some people find it hard to get past that. And I was definitely there as well. Like, I was working hard and nothing was happening. And I kept saying, I'm working so hard, but nothing's happening. And I just kept going and going and going. And then that's when you see the results. You have to get past that place where nothing's happening, because it's the same for everybody. But I think as women, we are a little bit impatient, and because it doesn't happen like right now, that you struggle to keep that going. But again, that comes down to how much you want to change your life, or because only you can do it. But that's just my opinion. I don't know. But I think one of the biggest things is that women find it hard to go in that weights area. But like I said, if you could get muscles that quickly, then I'd be very happy.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things about commercial gyms, especially, is that women are a little bit afraid to take their step out of their comfort zone. Now, from being a CrossFit coach as well, I've seen it a little bit different. You do have that hesitancy from women, especially, even men. Like, it's tough, like going into a gym environment with lots of strong people, lots of potentially big personalities, and you're new to this, you're not really sure what you're doing at first, and to go in there, it's quite a vulnerable situation to be in. However, with like what I do within the CrossFit gym, you see a quicker change or a turnaround as opposed to a commercial gym, because it is group-led. It's group-led sessions, so we integrate members very, very quickly, and within the first 2 or 3 sessions, they're sort of up to scratch as to where they're meant to be, and a lot more confident, whereas that can take a little bit longer within a commercial gym. How did you find that when you first started going into a commercial gym?
For me, it's a little bit different because I train where I work. I work at a gym.
Oh, fantastic.
So it's a little bit different for me because obviously I'm used to
the members and stuff.
I know the people. But that being said, when I have gone into a different gym, of course I have that initial like anxiety, and I think as well that comes from being in a wheelchair, because I've had the comments where people will say like, why are you going to the gym? Like, you're in a wheelchair. And I don't.
You've had that comment before from someone?
Oh yeah, loads of times. They'll say like, what do you need to go to the gym for? You're in a wheelchair. I'm like, right, okay. And then I start doing deadlifts or lifting weights, and then
do you not know you've got to sit in a dark room for the rest of your life once you're in a wheelchair?
Clearly.
You've missed the memo.
Pointing out to me that I was in a wheelchair because I obviously didn't know.
Oh my god, what happened?
No, tell me something I didn't know. Yeah, like the comments that I have got, I honestly could write a book about some of the stupid comments, but yeah, we'll touch on them in a minute. But yeah, so people will say like, oh, what do you need to go to the gym for? You're in a wheelchair. But then obviously I start lifting weights and they're like, oh, she can actually lift some weights. And actually I think I've surprised some people, and that feeling is amazing. Like
that jaw drop moment.
Oh, when somebody gives me a comment, I love it, because what they don't realize, they think that they're actually putting me down. But what they don't realise is that is my motivation massively to go and prove them wrong even more. So they're actually fueling my fire, because then I'm like, no, actually, this is what I can do. And then
I think, go on.
Sometimes they look at you and I think, now you do what I've just done, and they can't do it. And I'm like, well, yeah, just be quiet. Just be quiet.
Back up.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. And I personally myself, I thrive on the negative comments as well. Like, I think you need them a little bit so you can sort of
Absolutely.
almost like, I need to prove you wrong. Like, I need to show you that I can do this. And
Absolutely.
especially with bodybuilding or fitness in general, really, it's as you said, you don't see immediate results. And I always refer back to a lot of my clients. So when they go, oh, I'm not seeing results. I'm like, you've been training for 3 weeks. You've been training for 4 weeks. You've been training for 2 months. I'm like, so one of the things I'll say to them, I'll say, do you brush your teeth every day? And they'll go, yeah. I'll go, why? And they'll go, oh, because I do. I'm like, but do you see any like immediate amazing? Do you like brush your teeth and they're sparkling white? Like, well, no, they're clean. I'm like, what happens if you stop brushing your teeth for 6 months? We don't do these initial things because they benefit. Obviously, you having better smelling breath, but we don't do these things because they benefits on the day necessarily. Okay. But it's 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 5 years down the line. Same with like saving money, like saving £1 every day. Oh, it's only £1. You save that for a year, you got a few quid in your bank.
This is exactly like what I say. I never ever, if you'd have said to me, you would be still doing this fitness journey, eating the same food for 2 years, I would have laughed at you and been like, there is no way I would have been able to do this. But exactly what you just said is what I say to other people. Like you would brush your teeth every day, ticking the boxes of fitness things for me, going to the gym, meal prepping is just what I do every day, like you would brush your teeth. And some people don't get it, and I understand that, but it was hard for me at first when people didn't get it and was like, why are you so strict on yourself? Why are you so hard on yourself? But then I was just like, I don't need to explain myself to you. I'm doing it for a reason, and this is why I'm doing it. And you're probably questioning me because you know that you can't do it.
Mm. You get termed as a fitness junkie. Oh, she's just a fitness junkie. I mean, if you're going to be addicted to something, I definitely would rather being addicted to fitness.
Exactly. That is what I say. You're literally taking the words out of my mouth. I always say there's worse things I could be addicted to than being addicted to the gym. Just like you're boring, all you ever do is go to the gym, but I don't really care. I've got goals that I want to achieve, things that I want to achieve that people tell me I can't, and that is exactly the reason why I want to do it.
And we do as a society look for quick fixes a lot of the time, don't we? A lot of us are not willing to put that work in.
100%, yeah. And honestly, never thought I would be able to. And I think the more that people do it, they will probably realise just how much they've got inside them to achieve something. It's just getting over that initial thing of thinking, oh, I've got a disability, or I've got a health condition, or my job takes over my life, whatever it might be. Just make that initial little move and you'll probably surprise yourself at what you can actually do.
Oh, absolutely. Big time, big time. I would like to revisit some of the comments that you've had in the gym. I think it's quite important. Because for anyone else listening to this, maybe it might be a little bit of an aha moment, like, oh, I didn't realize what I was saying was offensive, or could potentially upset someone. Yeah. So what sort of, go on, sorry.
Sorry, for me, I'm quite easygoing. Like, if somebody says a comment, I can pretty much now just be like, that's your problem, not mine. Whereas probably when I was younger, I would really take these comments to heart. And don't get me wrong, there has been the odd time, I mean, recently actually, there has been the odd time where some comments do get to me. And then I sit back and I think to myself, why have I just let that get to me? There are the odd ones, because after all, we are human and it is going to get to you eventually. But 9 times out of 10, I can just laugh and be like, I can't believe you've actually just said that. So yeah, I have things like, the biggest one is, why do I need to go to the gym when I'm in a wheelchair? Like, it's that stupid. Like, I don't even have an answer. Like, I don't even want to sit there and have to explain myself, because why would you even say that? It's that ridiculous. And I think if people do get that comment, like, don't even give that person the time of day to give them an answer, because you don't need to explain yourself. You're there for whatever reason you're there for. You wouldn't go up to an able-bodied person and be like, well, why are you using the gym because you're fat? Like, you just wouldn't say those comments. So why would you say it to somebody in a wheelchair? If everybody just minded their own business and got on with what they were doing at the gym, then they might actually be ripped rather than their jaw be trained too much. Just don't give them the answer that they're wanting, because I think that would fuel them actually giving them that answer. Or I've had comments like, say like if I've put a certain weight on a cable machine, like somebody's come up to me before and said, are you sure you can lift that heavy? And I'll be like, yeah, I'm 100% certain, otherwise I wouldn't do it. I just think, like, why? It baffles me why people could take the time out of their day to make those kind of comments.
I think, I think maybe in some circumstances it is a little bit, it's from what I've seen, it's a little bit of not really understanding a lot around disabilities, because I do still see that awkwardness even now at the gym where I've integrated a lot of my athletes into the gym, and people sort of come up to me and go, oh, your guy's done really good, and they don't quite know how to refer to them. Like, what do I say? Do I say disabled? Do I say crippled? What word do I use? And I'm like, just person. You still there? Yeah, oh, there you go. Sorry, exactly. Sorry, it froze for a second. Yeah, like just so I've steered more to the term adaptive athlete. So whenever I'm referring to any of my clients or any members in the gym that train with me, I will use the term adaptive athlete. I feel like that's quite a cool name to be an adaptive athlete.
It is cool. I get that, but I'm going to ask you a question now.
Go for it.
Why do you feel that you have to use that? Why can't you just refer to them as an athlete?
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, I could refer to them as just an athlete.
I think for a cool word, like I get that, and you are adapting things, and you are showing that it can be adaptive, but it's obvious that you're adapting those things. So why? It's like when people say wheelchair user. Well, yeah, it's obvious I'm a wheelchair user. Like, I get why you're doing it, and there's nothing wrong with that word, but it's just me asking you the question in general. Like, why do you not feel comfortable enough to just say athlete?
I think for me, I use the term adaptive athlete because at the moment I'm trying to raise awareness around it, and I'm trying to build. I'm trying to build more of a community within the gym. And now, if I was to say athlete, there could be that misinterpretation of course, like the other members. Whereas I'm really trying to build that community, that sort of ethos, and that understanding of what this is all about. And I think at the moment, because there is, for the most part, the masses would not really know how to refer to an adaptive athlete. I need to create that awareness before then it can become more
an athlete.
Does that make sense? I think that's why. But no, I completely agree with you. Absolutely, it should be the case that you are referred to as an athlete. You are referred to as another person. Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. So you work at a gym as well, you said?
Yeah, I work at it's a health and wellbeing centre, so it's basically for people. I mean, obviously anybody can use it, but it is for people with disabilities or health conditions. We have it's called a wellness hub, where it has like toning chairs, toning beds for people that have got certain health conditions, and we have the gym's got adapted equipment in it, but obviously anybody can use it. It is for anybody, and able-bodied people do use it as well, which is great, because I like the fact that obviously disabled people can go in there, and able-bodied people, they can see how we all work, and it's good. I like it that anybody can use it.
And it's creating that awareness as well, as you said, like, because you've got the integration of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was one of the reasons why I trained as a fitness instructor as well, because I'm a qualified fitness instructor now. I decided to go and do that because of this crazy love for fitness. But that's something else I really would like to get more into. Not necessarily helping disabled people. I also want to help able-bodied people, because when I'm up there and I'm doing sort of gym inductions or whatever it might be, if it's an able-bodied person that I'm inducting, you kind of see that look in their eye, as if to say, like, what do you know? You know, because you're in a wheelchair, how can you help me? And I want to get rid of that as well, because just because I'm in a wheelchair and I'm a fitness instructor doesn't mean that I don't have the knowledge that I can still give you as an able-bodied person. Because
a good coach doesn't necessarily need to demonstrate something physically in order to get someone to understand something. If you've got good coaching cues and teaching points, like you could explain a workout and someone could get it.
Exactly. But I think, again, that's something that we need to get over, that just because I'm sat down and I'm giving you advice, or I can't necessarily do it myself, doesn't mean that I'm not giving you that right advice. So again, that's another thing. I'd like to see more disabled fitness instructors, but it's not something that's just going to happen overnight.
No, so I've never, I mean, in my local gym, I don't know what it's like around your, obviously if you work in a specialist gym as well that caters to that population, like around my area, I've not seen too many people in wheelchairs, people with disabilities within the gym, other than sort of what I'm doing down at the place that I work at as well. So
that's sad.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons I came up with what I'm doing with Alt Movement as well, is because I thought there needs to be something done about this. There was nothing really, there was no clubs other than some very, very basic clubs where disabilities was all getting lumped into one category in regards to people with physical and then obviously mental disabilities as well, or learning disabilities. And I think, yes, you want to include them both, but they're both very much different, if that makes sense. Neither one of them are going to benefit from the same program. So that's what I wanted to see more in this area. I wanted to see more inclusivity within the gyms, not necessarily having to change too much other than obviously disabled access, etc., but giving coaches and other trainers the knowledge to not have someone come in and go, oh shit, they're in a wheelchair, I don't know what to do, just go and use that, that's it, done.
Exactly. And that has also happened to me. Like when I said to you, I've been working with my coach for 2 years. When I approached her, having the disability was not an issue to her whatsoever. She was like, look, I haven't coached somebody with a disability before, but let's do it. Like,
I love that.
Whereas I've approached coaches who have straight away been like, never worked with someone with a disability, can't help you. And I was just like, okay.
But that's fine. Would you want to work with someone that was... No, exactly.
Absolutely not. Like, the fact that that happens annoys me, because surely as a coach, they haven't worked with somebody with a disability before, but that doesn't mean, going back to our conversation, that they don't have the knowledge that they could still apply to somebody. That proves to me that they don't want to get better in their coaching skills either, because as well as it helping me out as having them as my coach, it would help them out and make them a better coach.
Exactly.
But with that answer, I'm just like, no, I'm glad that you've said that, because with that attitude, we wouldn't get anywhere.
No.
My coach that I have now, literally, she was like, I haven't worked with anyone with a disability, but it's not going to make a difference. We can adapt this and we can adapt that. And honestly, the amount of things that she's adapted for me, and she honestly has more belief in me than I sometimes have in myself. Like, the things that she pushes me to do, like deadlifts, for example. I had never ever done a seated deadlift until I'd got with her, and I was like, oh my God, you're asking me to lift this huge bar? I was like, you're mental. And now, like, my deadlifts are improving so much, and when I do them in the gym, people will actually stop and look, and I like that feeling, because it's an exercise where, as a wheelchair user, you would maybe, and I did initially, think that I would never be able to do that. That's an able-bodied exercise. But no, it isn't. And it just goes to show that with that little bit of willing to sort of research, because she's researched a lot of things as well for me, that anything is possible.
I mean, for the thing that I found when I first started sort of coaching and working with like adaptive athletes, it was that there was not a lot of resources online in regards to alternative exercises or how to do something slightly differently and all these other things. And I was like, how can we create awareness around that? And now one of the things I've said to a lot of coaches is like, okay, right, you've got someone coming with a wheelchair, what would you do with them? And they're like, oh, I don't know. Okay, right, your client phones you up, sorry mate, I'm gonna have to knock training in the head for 6 weeks, but I'm gonna be back in 6 weeks time, I just broke my leg. What would you do for them? And they go, oh, I'll do this X, Y, Z. And I'm like, why would that same methodology not apply to someone in a wheelchair? Because we're just taking away their lower body and they can't bear weight on one leg or either legs. So we can still use that. And they're like, oh, yeah, I never really thought of it like that, actually. Yeah. And so sometimes it's not necessarily knowing the answers, it's knowing the right questions to ask. So now I can Google, what exercise can I do with someone with a broken leg? Boom, you're probably going to get loads of stuff come up.
Exactly, yeah. Exactly. But again, this is exactly what we were saying, where it's just that missing piece, isn't it, in the middle? And it takes people like yourself, like what you're doing is literally incredible. I wish I lived closer to you, because I would definitely be
thank
there.
you.
Definitely.
Well, if you're ever in the area, you're more than welcome to stop by.
Oh, thanks. That would be amazing. I'd love to. I'll have to make a visit at some point, because honestly, what you're doing is so good. And back when I first started, I wish there were more things like this. But saying that, the reason that there wasn't is what gave me this passion to do what I'm doing now.
Because you needed to be that person that helps others.
Yeah,
there's no one else doing it.
For me, that is my biggest thing. Even though I have this lifestyle that I love and I eventually want to compete, like, I just want to show people that if you want to change your body shape, if you want to lose weight, if you want to get fitter, whatever it might be, you can do it. Like, it's literally just you that's stopping yourself. It's not your disability, it's just yourself. And if I can just inspire one person to know that their disability is just a part of them, it isn't who they are as a whole, and to just inspire them to go out and do whatever they want to do, then I'm happy. Like, I'm not an expert in anything by any means, and my fitness journey is mine, and like everybody's journey is their own. But if somebody can take a small snippet out of my journey and think, I want to have a go at that, or I want to try and do that, then that's good to me.
So have you had a lot of people reach out to you with your fitness journey you've done on Instagram?
I have, but as you know, like, it's so hard to spread awareness, especially on Instagram, because even though you share these things, they have their own little ways of making it hard to get it out there. So it hasn't reached as many people as I would like it to, but again, it's a long process. It's not something I'm gonna give up on. Like, I need to keep doing this, and the more noise we make, somebody might eventually listen. And
yeah, it's that consistency side of things, isn't it? Because I've got a few people I follow through my Instagram, and I've seen them, like, you know, sitting there with 200 followers, they're doing their workouts, and all of a sudden, boom, overnight they've been recognized by the right person, and they've exploded. And then obviously they've got that recognition that they've been putting all that hard work in.
To me, I'm not bothered about the amount of followers. I'm not bothered, you know, if people click follow or they don't. It's just a case of, have they seen it? Whether they click follow or not is irrelevant. I just want them to see it and know that it is possible. Because I was that person that thought, oh, I've got a disability, I'm forever going to be fat, I'm never going to be able to change my body shape or be that athlete that I want to be. And I was wrong. Like, I can honestly say I was wrong. And my coach has helped me with that, because she, like I said, she believes in me more than I believe in myself. Like, she was 100% determined that yes, you can change your body shape. And I'm going through the bulking improvement season at the moment, which I hate, because this is the part where obviously you're putting the weight back on. And I think for me,
it's the best bit. You get to eat loads of food.
Yeah, it's good that you can eat loads of food, but because I've lost so much weight, putting it back on, it's a fine line between not wanting to be that person I was back then, but knowing that I'm doing it for the right reasons to improve. And this is where the whole bodybuilding mindset is so difficult, because people don't understand, like, you've lost all that weight, why are you putting it all back on again? They don't get that you need to do that in order to go to the next step to get better. For me, the cutting part is easy. Like, I can diet, and I like that feeling of seeing my body change each check-in. But this bulking part of, and again, I think that comes down to a woman thing as well, doesn't it? Where putting the weight back on.
Yeah, it's very much a woman's mindset in regards to, like, nutrition. Nutrition's a tough one for a lot of women, and I wouldn't even begin to start saying I'm any expert in nutrition at all, or especially like psychology with nutrition, because it's a very, very deep-rooted, touchy subject that you have to be super careful as a coach in what you say to your clients, because you could send them on a downward spiral. And eating, it's a tough one. So I always keep my nutrition stuff surface level with any of my clients. It's always like suggestions, or I'll get people to track their stuff to create awareness around it. But I've always been super careful.
I think as well, having a disability and being a wheelchair user, like I've always been conscious of my food, because we can't get away from the fact that we can't be as active as an able-bodied person. Also, I thought, whereas probably now I probably do a lot more than some able-bodied people.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's a mindset that I had back then that you need to get out of.
Yeah, I'm always well, not always shocked, but how little a lot of people move. They'll show me their steps. They go, "Oh, I've done 2,000 steps today." I'm like, "Wait, what?" I've done 20,000 steps, and that's before 12 p.m.
I don't think I've done 2,000 steps in my life.
No. Well, do you wear any wearable tech or anything? Do you wear like Fitbit or?
No, the only thing that I do, so cardio-wise, is difficult, but my coach gives me like an amount of Ks that I have to do a week. So on the hand bike, or going out, like actually outside to do a push. So like you would go for a run, I call it a push. So like I might go and do like a 5K, and as long as I've got like my amount of Ks in the week, she'll give me like an amount that I have to do. So I'll do them on the hand bike or out for a push.
I mean, as a few, have you used like a ski erg? Have you tried ski ergs? Yeah. Battle ropes.
Yeah, I don't like battle ropes. Maybe again, that's like the wrong thing of me thinking like I don't know, it's just manly battle ropes, but I don't really like them. I have tried them, but I don't get on with them. I love the ski erg. I mean, like everybody, there's exercises that you click with more than others. And for me, battle ropes, I gave it a go. Like I always give every exercise a go. But for me, battle ropes I didn't like it. Not saying that it's horrible for everyone, but ski erg for me, I love the ski erg. Hand bike is my big one there, where I get most of my Ks in the week. So like you would do, like what people try and do, like 10K steps a day, don't they? It's like my equivalent. I have to do like 30K a week, but obviously that'll go up once I start dieting.
So in the gym, how have you found you've adapted some of these movements then? So for example, like particular exercises, have you had to make any alterations so you're able to do them? Like the ski erg, obviously you would need someone to grab them for you because they're quite high up, or can you get up and get them?
Yeah, no, so I can't stand up. So what I do is, do you know where the ropes cross at the bottom? So I like pull them up,
Feed them up.
Yeah, so that's how I get the ski. The only thing I really struggle with is, when you're wanting to move the cable on the table.
Oh, yeah.
That's the difficulty really. But most of the things, you find a way around it. Obviously, deadlifts, the heavier the weight goes, needing to get people to put the weights on, but you do what you've got to do. Like I've got things I want to achieve. So those little things of asking people for help is irrelevant to me now. They'll either say yes or they'll say no, but like it is what it is.
So you're quite comfortable in asking other members in the gym at the time if you're like doing certain things, or?
It's a little bit of a sticky situation, because I actually, due to all this COVID malarkey, I actually bring my mum with me. It's not something I want to do, because I like the independence of being in the gym by myself, cracking on with the workout. But at the same time, I have my same routine in the gym that I do all the time. And I know that if I've got my mum with me, she knows my routine, we can just crack on with it and get it up, get it done. I don't have to think about waiting for somebody to come and help me do this. If there's no one in the gym, trying to find somebody. So I actually bring her with me to do those things. But no, I wouldn't have an issue asking people if I needed to, because at the end of the day, they're only going to say yes or no. it's no big deal, and I don't have an issue asking people. But yeah, like I said, I bring my mum with me just for it to be a little bit less stressful of having to find that help, and I can just basically crack on with my workout.
Is there still quite strict rules in your gym that you go to, or?
Because our gym is a health and wellbeing gym where there's lots of people with sort of health conditions, it probably is a little bit more strict. Sort of the staff, as a wheelchair user, if you're wanting help or if you're needing help carrying equipment, things like that, they do sort of say to you, bring somebody with you, because then you're not relying on if staff can't be there. But for me, it works well because, like I said, my mum knows my routine inside out because I do the same one in the gym. So we can just basically crack on with it. And it's one less stress, to think, is there going to be anyone there to help me get the equipment I need? It's just one less stressful thing, and I can just do my workout and get on with it.
I think that's one common sort of thing you see as well with wheelchair users. It's like, you don't see the background stuff that goes on. It's like, I'm talking to you now. Okay, right, that's it. Like, I see you as a pretty independent person. Like, you must be sweet. But then it's the stuff you don't see behind the scenes. Like, as you say, going to the gym, like even going to London. One of my clients, he goes to London quite regularly. But to go to London, he has to find certain stop-off points. He has to make sure that the ramps are out on the trains and all these little bits and pieces, even down to going to the toilet, even like just tiny little things that I would take for granted, to be honest with you. Like, I'll see a video of someone putting a pair of trousers on. Like, she done a video, she showed, and it took her about 3-4 minutes. I'm like, wow, I never, like, even though I work and do this, I didn't really consider that sort of factor into it.
And it's like on Instagram, everybody does it. They only post the good parts. They only post the parts that they want people to see, but you don't
get my bad side.
You don't see like the pain that you go through every day. For me, I'm always in pain, but because it's normal. It's only the days that are more painful where I'll say my legs hurt, if you know what I mean. But every day they have pain, but because it's normal, I just get on with it. And like you said, it is those days that nobody sees. And people always say to me, oh, you're always so happy, you're always smiling. And I think, no, I'm not. Like, I do have those normal days like everyone else where I'm mardy as anything. It's just, you don't see those parts. And kind of in a way, it'd be nice to document some of those things to show that you are actually a normal human that goes through these normal things, and probably a lot harder than the average person. Like you said, for me, one of my biggest things is shoes and socks. Like, it's so hard. Like, it's a workout in itself, like putting shoes and socks on, or getting a bath. Like, I'll get a bath, and by the time I get out, it's that much effort. I feel like I need another one. And it's
just dripping with sweat after getting out. Yeah.
It's these things that people don't see, and they always say to me, like, oh, you make it look so easy having a disability. Oh yeah, it's really easy. But I think it's just, you do just learn to adapt these things, and you learn sometimes, even though you don't want to, you learn to put this kind of front on to try and show people that it is easy, but it isn't. It isn't. You just get on with it. And I think it's that makes you the stronger person, and those kind of things in everyday life that I can definitely put into my fitness. Like when I'm mad about things that I can't do, like I'll go and smash it out in the gym, and that anger is kind of put into my fitness. Yeah, it's just, you just get on with it, or you try to in the best way you can.
It's just finding a redirection for any of them sort of negative thoughts, or that sort of that wallowing.
Surely you do. Surely you.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh my God! Like, I don't want to even be an adult today.
Well, obviously working in the fitness industry, we almost have to be a bit of a like actors. So like, if I'm having a bad day, if I'm sick, if I'm like anything of these, like I'll go into a class, and like regardless of how I feel, or a client, because like end of the day, they're paying me good money to give them my all, and I do have to sort of almost like put a different face on and go, right, I'm in such a great mood today, guys, let's go, we're going to do this exercise, come on gang, and everyone's like, oh, I'm open about it, and I'm like, don't start. Yeah. But then you go behind closed doors, you go, oh God, jeez, that was a struggle.
It is. And you do have them. It's like people will say to me, like, how do you stay so motivated every day? And my answer is, I don't. Not every day. It's just that I have these goals or these things that are so important for me to achieve that overtakes anything else, and I just want to do it.
And having that vision in mind as well, like I always have it every single morning. I'll have a phrase I say to myself. It's normal. I won't say it here because it's quite rude, but I'll wake up and I'll go, get out of bed, you lazy something. But it's always that I'll get up around about 4:10. But I never wake up and...
Oh my God, 4:10. Let's just ask why.
4:10. I can. It's on my phone. I can show you the like. So 4:10. So
that's like the middle of the night.
I have a client at 6 normally most mornings. I have 2 huge dogs that need feeding. I have breakfast to make, and I'll prepare myself for the day.
That is dedication itself. Like you say,
every day, even Sunday, I'll get up at that time because I go and train. Because Sundays, yeah, absolutely.
You just said to me, if we rewound this conversation, that you could not be dedicated in
nutrition
or meal prep. Yeah, but I could not do that. I could not get up at 4:10 every day. So you need to be proud of yourself for doing that, because that is dedication.
It's become a bit more of a routine now. So as I say, once you get into that routine, it's not hard anymore. Don't get me wrong, it's horrible for the first 6 months, but that was something I had to do because during COVID, I won't go too much into COVID because I think everyone's probably fed up of listening about that. But during COVID, I had to come out of fitness for a little bit and get another job. And during that period, I lost a lot of my obviously regular hours, a lot of gym shut, or all gym shut. And the only way I was going to become a personal trainer again was to get up really freaking early before I started I like to say the term real job. Before I started my real job, I had to train 2 clients in the morning. And then so that meant I had to get up at 4. Otherwise, I weren't going to train myself. I weren't going to be able to prepare myself for the day. So I'll just get up at that time. I'll prepare everything, train 2 clients, go to work for 8-9 hours, and then come home, train 2 clients, and then just keep repeating that. But that was something I had to do that I knew I wanted to, because, you know, I had a mortgage to pay or have a mortgage to pay and that sort of stuff. Yeah. So I was like, right, these steps need to be taken if I want to reach that long-term goal. So I've done that for like the best part of a year, saved up enough to give myself a buffer so that when I did make that transition, I was fine. And yeah, it just stuck. So now I'm just like I don't know whether it's partly my dogs. If they hear me stir and make any noise, they're like, right, Dad's up, make me food.
You need to take credit for yourself for doing that, because that is good, really good.
I'll give myself a pound of back.
Yeah, definitely. So like you do that is my routine every day. Like I could literally write down my routine every single day, and people will say to me like, is that not boring? No, it's not boring, because that's what I love doing, and I know that by doing that I'm going to achieve what I want to achieve, hopefully. Like I literally eat at the same time, I'll meal prep, I'll lay my food out, and I love it.
But then you'll have that same person that said that's boring, do you not get bored of that, probably come to you in 6 months and go, can you help me?
Exactly. Yeah,
okay, right. First of all, you got to get up at this time. You got to do it.
Yeah, the people that ask the questions actually want to know how you do it, but they don't want to do it themselves.
It's horrible. It's hard work. Like it's not easy. Like getting up that time in the morning. And one of the things I was doing, I don't know if you've heard of the guy Wim Hof. He does a lot of the cold therapy and stuff like this anyway. So I was following him at the time, and he's like talking about motivation and mindset. So not only was I getting up at 4:10, I was having cold showers in the morning as well. So yeah. But this was a mindset thing, because I wanted to be in a strong mindset. So what I was doing is I thought to myself, if I could do something that is absolutely horrible, the second I wake up, the rest of the day will be easy. And I'll tell you what, it worked. The rest of the day was so easy. I was getting in that shower. Sorry?
Do your days not feel like really long?
They blur into one another. Like tonight, so I was up with a client 6 this morning, and I've got a class 7 till 8 tonight. So I generally will be done about 8:30, 9-ish.
And then do you go to bed at like a reasonable
And then I'll go have a shower or whatever I've got to do. I'm in bed by sort of like 9:30.
Good. I like
Yeah,
that. I like it.
I can't be up too late. No way. No,
Good sleep as well.
I don't have a telly in the bedroom or anything like that, because I know a lot of people have tellies in the room. I get into bed, I go to sleep, because I know the next day I've got to be up. I've got to be performing well. So
yeah,
it's tough in the initial stage, but then once it becomes routine, it's not anymore. It's just
exactly.
It's just part of your day.
This is what I say to people now, because they'll say to me, like, how can you weigh your food and prep your food up? But to me, it's just automatic now. At first I had to think about it, and I was like, how am I going to fit all these 6 meals in my day? But now it is literally just automatic. Like, I know that, because I drink 4 litres of water every day as well. And people are like, how do you fit that amount of water in a day? But I know, like, I need to have drank this amount by this time. And it's not stressful, because I know when I've got to do it. Whereas when you first start, the same as anything. If you get a new job, you're stressed out because you don't know what to do. Whereas eventually it just becomes a habit. And fitness is exactly the same.
So what time do you get up in the morning? Not 4:30, not 4:10.
No, not 4:10.
Listen, there's no judgment. There's no judgment at all. Like, I think get up when you're ready, because when you perform better, I perform better like that. So if someone gets up at 6, 7, 8, 9, even, like if you're
my get up time depends on work. So normally I'll get up at 6, just because
that's still really early. It's still really early.
It's early, yeah. But on the days I have off, so like today, I will try and get a little bit of a lie in, just because I know that I'll be better in the gym. But because it's such a habit, your body just wakes up at that normal 6 o'clock time for me. And I guess it does for you. Like, you don't really always need that alarm, because you're so used to it that your body just would automatically wake up at that time.
Thankfully, because I have forgot to set my alarm a couple of times, I get into bed, I go, boom, I wake up. What time is it? What's 4:30? My alarm ain't gone off. Damn it. Check it. Oh no, I didn't say it, but yeah, thankfully I've got that internal clock now that wakes me up in time.
And like you, I do try and keep the same routine, sort of, even when I'm not at work or on the weekend. I mean, I work weekends as well, but I try and keep that same routine, because if you had a really long lie-in, then I know I'm only going to feel rubbish the next day. So I do try and stick to that.
I do have a 20-minute window where I need to eat first thing in the morning. Otherwise, I'm not a very nice person to be around.
Everyone's like that.
It literally is like clockwork. 20 minutes. If I've not eaten within that period of waking up, like, I'm grumpy as hell.
No, I totally understand that, because for me now, and I know this is probably going to sound weird, but I eat more food now than I did when I was 4 stone heavier. And that's probably because I train so much. And it surprises me how much I can actually eat, and probably how little I did eat back then. Because again, I think that's a woman thing, that when you want to lose weight, you think, if I eat less, that's going to help me.
But then that can cause like a load of other problems, like the feast and famine type thing. So where you won't have anything all week, and then you'll crash and then binge, and then all of a sudden your calories have spiked over the course of that week. So then you put the weight on.
So much, because I used to do that, literally just eat like once a day and think, this is going to really help me. Now, like I say to people, I eat 6 times a day. They're like, what?
There's nothing of you. How'd you do that?
Yeah, they say that all the time. And like, when you say to people, I'm going to go into like a 20-week diet, they're like, what? You're going to disappear? But it's all those people that they're not into this fitness lifestyle. They don't understand it. But it's surprising that how addictive it does become. But it's a good addictive.
It's a good addictive. Once you see the results, and obviously with yourself, when you inspire other people, and even you get one person come up to you and go, "I see what you're doing. It's given me the kick up the arse I've needed to pursue what I want to do," sort of thing.
For me, that's like my biggest thing. If I can just help one person believe that they can actually achieve whatever they want to achieve, then I'm a happy person. Like,
it's an amazing attitude.
I like, I don't know, a bit of one of those weird people that just like helping other people. I do.
It's not sound like me now. That's too cheesy.
Yeah, I like people. When somebody believes that they can't do something, I like to be that person that's just like, no, you can. And if I'm doing it myself, I feel that I am able to give that advice. Whereas sort of if you're not doing something yourself, how can you tell someone else to do it?
Yeah, I think that's the most important thing as well, especially like being a fitness professional, is lead by example. I know a lot of personal trainers that don't lead by example, and then it's sort of like you can't relate to them. You can't relate to them. You can't.
Yeah, exactly.
If you ain't doing it, why am I going to follow what you tell me to do?
Yeah, that's exactly it. So we just keep plodding on, and hopefully people will see it and want to do it
and be inspired.
Hopefully.
So where would you see yourself in 5 years' time then? So we've gone through where you was from the age of 10 upwards, and then onto the bodybuilding thing now. So where would you see yourself, or hope to see yourself within 5 years' time?
Ideally, I would love to become a personal trainer. I really want to, again, it goes back to helping people, even with a disability or without a disability. I just want to help anybody believe that anything is possible if you want to achieve it so much. And like I said before, it might not be a disability or health condition. It might just be that you think you've got a busy job, or you've got a busy family, and you don't feel that you can organise your life and make these changes. So I want to hopefully become a personal trainer. I would have liked to have done a competition, and that's something I definitely want to do. I'm not going to say it's a bucket list thing, because it is, like, as you know, it is something I do love, but it is something that I want to say I've done. Whether I will do it twice, I don't know, but that will only happen once. It's happened once. So we'll go from there, but compete, definitely. I would like to become a personal trainer, and even if my fitness lifestyle isn't as strict as it is now, I'd hope in 5 years' time it's still there somewhere. I'd still like to have this love for gym and fitness, no matter how strict or relaxed, whatever the word is you want to call it. I just want to be involved in the gym or in sport, in fitness, in one way or another.
I think that's the beauty of it, is our goals can change. You don't have to necessarily be set. You have these goals, but their directions can sort of go in and out, and your styles of training, etc. So
I like to give myself goals and challenges, because I think it helps me definitely to have a goal of something to achieve and work towards. But at the same time, I don't like to say this is definitely what I want to do, because then if I don't get there, I'll feel like I've failed. Whereas I just like to say, this is what I would like to do, but this might happen or this might happen. So I'd love to become a personal trainer. If I don't, then I'm a fitness instructor, and I can hopefully help people in other ways. Either way, I want fitness to be in my life for a long while yet, because as well as the physical changes, it helps me mentally more than anything.
Yeah, it's done a lot for you. It's done a lot for me. It's done a lot for everybody I know. Not a single person I know that's got into fitness or into this industry has regretted it. And if you're passionate about it, you will be successful. And you sound very passionate about it. So
I'm probably too passionate about it.
You're one of these boring people that only follow fitness people on their Instagram. Yeah. Just watch fitness documentaries and in the gym all the time. But
well, like you said before, there's worse things we could be addicted to.
Yeah. And I'm sure you wouldn't have it any other way. No,
definitely not.
That's awesome. That's cool. Leanne, thank you so much for joining me today. It's really
for having me.
It's really cool to speak to you, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see where you're going to be over the coming years. I'll be following you in 5 years' time. I'm going to chase you up and go, right, where are we at?
Yeah, that would be cool.
But one of the other things, I know obviously we won't say too much about what Nick was doing, but if that is going ahead, I'm probably going to go as well and watch. So
awesome.
Yeah, I might be able to meet you in person if you are doing that as well.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Cool. But yeah, anyway, thank you so much. I'm going to end the podcast there. So it was great to have you on, and especially today, International Women's Day.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. No worries. Take care.
Take care.